Hello and welcome in. Man, what a game tonight was. Ravens at Chiefs. That was a thriller down to the very last moment, and I can't believe a toe decided the tie for Isaiah Likely. Speaking of it, we'll talk about Isaiah Likely later, but it's absolutely crazy. But 27 to 20, the Chiefs win. We'll start with the Ravens. Out the gate, the Ravens to me looked a little disheveled. The offensive line, the refs apparently are making it a very big deal to call the alignment of the offensive line, and if you're not like even with the center or close to it, at least the back part of him, and they just kept calling it and calling it and calling it, and I think it really threw off the Ravens trying to get into a rhythm. Derrick Henry looked a little sluggish at the gate. It just seemed like he didn't have any pep in his step. He started to get a little bit going, but then it just seemed like their drives would stall out a little bit. They did get a touchdown on the opening drive. Thank goodness Derrick Henry got that touchdown. Otherwise, it'd been a miserable night for Derrick Henry. Zay Flowers, the first half of the game was a primary focus of the Ravens. It just seemed like Lamar was just like, everybody else, no, Flowers, 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 Flowers. It was just feeding him the ball as much as possible. And then for some reason, Mark Andrews disappeared. He was like, he was on the field, but it's just like, usually Lamar loves throwing him the ball. And it was just like, what happened? Where did you go? And Isaiah Likely, and you know what threw me off like really hard at the start of the game, when they go through and they're like, oh, so-and-so, Old Miss, they're kind of going through the colleges, right, and saying who they are. And it's like, Mark Andrews, and it was like, Isaiah Likely. I'm like, wait, hold on. I don't remember ever hearing that at the start of a game, like Isaiah Likely was a major part of the offense, right? And I was like, that's strange. And then, sure enough, that meant something because he had 111 yards, 12 targets, 9 catches. That is insane. What in best ball? You're a hero. I didn't draft almost any Isaiah Likely. That's crazy to me. Absolutely nuts. And then he would have had 13 targets with 10 catches and he had a touchdown. 2 touchdowns, but the toe decided that he wasn't going to get that today. Lamar was having to scramble like crazy. It just seemed like he was like, after he fumbled especially. He fumbled, and it wasn't really his fault. It's just the offensive line crumbled. They actually just substituted out one of their offensive line for like one of the rookies. And I think it was Chris Jones just ran through and was like, oh yeah, you're going to put a rookie up here? Yeah, have a nice day. And then just strip sacked Lamar. So after that, it just seemed like Lamar's like, I can't trust anybody. I can't let anyone back here. And if I do, I just got to run. And just like, he was putting himself in harm's way so much. He was putting the team on his back. And this early in the season, I was just like, dude, don't do it. Like, you're going to get hurt. So it was really crazy to see. But they started picking up steam later on. But man, and then the crazy thing was after Flowers being the focal point of the offense, like he literally had like almost 40 yards at halftime. So I'm like, oh, he's going to hit the over on this, no problem. 52 and a half yards? He didn't. He got like 1 or 2 passes for like 3 or 4 yards. And it was just like, oh, Likely? Here you go. Oh, Likely? Here you go. Oh, Likely? Here you go. I think like technically Andrews had total, like he only had 2 for I think like 11 or 12 yards. But he actually had a third catch that was called back because one of those weird offensive alignment issues, and that was for like 9 yards. So he would have really had like 3 catches for almost 20 yards, 30 yards, something like that. But yeah, that was another just, oh man, so bad. And then Justice Hill. What in the world? That guy had like 8 catches too, or at least I think 8 targets, 6 catches for like almost 50 yards. And like he had one rush for like 3 yards. Man, that's rough. I mean, Henry had 1 pass attempt, but he didn't catch it. But Justice Hill, again, best ball, I actually did draft him like 18th round pick, 17th round pick. So I'm really happy with that. But man, if he's getting that and you have him on DraftKings and best ball, you're also a hero. And I have him, and I felt really good about that. But crazy! It just things didn't go quite like I expected for the Ravens, but they did hold in there. They were really close to tying the game up, but just nonetheless, those were kind of like the upsides and the disappointments there. For the Chiefs look real clean. They were doing good. Pacheco had some incredible runs. He was really putting some work in. Um, Rashee Rice. Yep, he's the focal point of that offense. And for the first half, it seemed like Kelsey. I'm going back to Andrews here in the Baltimore Ravens, but it just seemed like both those like elite tight ends you paid a premium price for just were non-existent. I was like, okay, did these guys just fall off a cliff? Like, is this like no tight ends day? It was just nuts. And also Noah Gray. Noah Gray was getting a ton of targets, and I'm just like, what happened? Like, are we in a bizarre reality I don't know about? So it was just nuts for me. Um, Xavier Worthy, man, oh man, killer. He had the 21-yard touchdown run from behind the line, like they kind of like popped it back behind. He ran it. He had a real bomb. He was wide open down the sideline. Mahomes just was like, oh, there you go. So he had 2 touchdowns, had an incredible night. I had him on a bench on one of my fantasy leagues, but I actually was starting him in a couple other ones where I didn't have a lot of wide receiver depth. And man, I don't know how much that's going to take into the next week because they're already saying Marquise Brown may be back, make his debut next week. The biggest detriment to the Chiefs were their own mistakes. So like Mahomes threw an interception. Another thing was like they put Juju out there on like a route that was like almost on the end zone. Like if he caught it, he could have scored a touchdown or been like on the 1 yard line, and he like in the hands dropped it. Kelsey had a couple ones where it was like right in his mitts, dropped it. It was just like the same thing as last year when they started the season, where Mahomes was like hitting people in the hands and they were just dropping the ball, and I just couldn't believe that either. But Kelsey did make up for it. He was better than Andrews for sure. And then Samaje Perine came in for a couple passes. I think he had like 20 yards, 2 catches, something like that. Steele came in for a couple runs. But yeah, they were passing the ball around. Even Justin Watson came in for a 24-yard catch. But other than that, yeah, just Pacheco, nice. Mahomes didn't really have a great day because of 2 rushing touchdowns. He had the 1 passing touchdown. So he would have got you probably maybe like half point PPR, like maybe 15 fantasy points, which is like meh. But if you're getting like 3rd round, 4th round draft capital, not so great. But again, he'll have better days. But it was good to see the Chiefs. I love the playbook. I love what they were doing. And just if they can catch the ball, I think they'll be tremendous. They'll be significantly better. And the way that they were just playing all around the Ravens, I think there were some questionable play calls here and there. But hey, I'm not a coach. I'm not. What do I know? But otherwise, it was great. It was a great first night of football for sure. It was really enjoyable. I'd love to hear what you guys think. If there's anything I missed, comment down. I'll respond. I try to as fast as possible. But I'll be back here tomorrow night to make another one of these videos after the Eagles-Packers game. So see you then. Thanks. Bye.